Hi, I'm Carol Anne Riddell, and welcome to an all-new Book It. If you're a foodie, a fiction lover, or just someone who loves to eat and laugh, we've got a treat for you today. Author and food writer Adam Roberts is in the studio to talk about his novel, Food Person. Adam, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so cool.
Great. So this is your first novel, but it is about a topic that's very familiar to you, which is food writing. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how the story unfolds.
Well, the story is about a ghostwriter who, it's about a food writer who's struggling in her career, who wants to be the next Ruth Reichel or the next big deal food writer, and then she gets fired from her job, so she agrees to ghostwrite a celebrity's cookbook. And the celebrity is not interested in food or gourmet cooking, so there's a clash and antics ensue.
Yeah. And I feel like that does actually make the book is quite funny, and I feel like it's that the fact that they're such opposites that makes there's a lot of comedic tension in that.
Totally.
But I understand that the food writing, the ghost writing of the book actually comes from your real life.
Yes, it's funny. I ghost wrote a celebrity's cookbook. In my experience, the celebrity was really nice and great and easy to work with. I signed an NDA, so I can't tell you who the celebrity was. But it was funny because I always wanted to write a novel, and I never quite had the idea that would make for a great novel. And somewhere during that experience, I was like, what if the celebrity was a mess? And like, what if it was like a, like a Lindsay Lohan or, back when she was a little wilder. And so I just had this idea, and then I kind of thought about The Devil Wears Prada, and I was like, what if it's sort of like that kind of dynamic? And it just sort of started writing itself.
Yeah, well, it's very fun. Well, so we said it's a novel, so it does not include recipes, but there are some very vivid descriptions of cooking and food. Was that really fun for you?
It comes so naturally to me because I've been a food writer for 20 years. I had a food blog that I started in 2004. So I've been writing about food for so long and trying to describe it in vivid, unique ways because you don't want to write the same thing that this is delicious and that's delicious. You have to come up with new stuff. So when I was writing the book, like those sections just like poured out of me. They came the easiest. And then, but it's still fun to write that kind of stuff.
So I want to switch gears and talk a little bit about your background. For starters, you say that you went to law school accidentally.
Yes. Well, I have a Jewish mother who had two dreams for me, which was one was to marry a nice Jewish girl, and two is to become a doctor or a lawyer. Yeah. So when I came out as being gay, I was like, I'll throw her a bone and go to law school.
Okay. Probably not the best reason to do it.
No, it's actually a really bad reason to go to law school. So I went to law school and I was miserable. I mean, it was just such a bad fit. I described it as like having like a liver transplant and the liver's not taking. Like it was just like in my body and I was like, this is not right. So when I was there, I just started coming home and watching the Food Network, and this was 2004. So this is early days Food Network where it was really about cooking and there was not competition shows and cupcake wars, and it was really like
different landscape then.
Yeah, it was Sarah Moulton. I don't know if you know her, but she would like do stand and stir, like teach you how to make a sauce, teach you. So I started doing that and I immediately took to it. And somebody's like, you should start a blog where you write about what you're learning. And I called it The Amateur Gourmet because I didn't know anything. And it just took off and it sort of became my career.
So in addition to the fiction, you've written cookbooks. And you also do a lot of other food writing, much of which I read as I was preparing for our chat today.
Oh, great.
So one of the things, I understand that you have very strong beliefs about bagels. So can you explain?
Oh, yeah. I believe that the worse it makes your breath, the better the bagel. Like to me, like it's offensive if someone has like a plain bagel with butter on it. Like I don't personally get that. I'm sure there are people out there who are very nice people who do that. But
me?
Oh, you do? Okay.
I'm the plain bagel person.
Oh God, no.
Okay, it's okay. Keep coming.
But you have a job where you have to talk to people all day, so you don't want to have bad breath. I'm home writing all day. So. But I think in terms of having a great bagel experience, you want those little onions, you want the poppy seeds, you want the sesame, you want a scallion cream cheese, you want a smoked salmon cream cheese. You want something that has some life to it.
All right, fair. Yeah. And this came from your grandmother, I think I remember.
Well, my grandmother was funny because she'd always put raw red onions on everything. And then she'd say, people tell me I have terrible breath, but I don't know why. I was like, because you're always eating onions.
You also feel that you can tell a lot about a person by their tuna salad.
Wow, you did your deep dive research.
Yes, I did. So what is that about?
Well, I think I was being a little cheeky when I said that, but I think some people have a very like straightforward tuna salad where it's just mayonnaise and tuna and maybe some celery. But I think there's so many things you can add to it and so much, I think a boring tuna salad is sort of lifeless. A good tuna salad has lemon juice and maybe have some capers. It could have little onions, and it could have dill. It could have mustard. So I feel like you can tell about someone's personality by how much they add and put into their tuna salad.
Okay, I do like the doctored up tuna salad, and I will also say that when I was pregnant, that was my biggest craving.
Okay.
Tuna salad.
So
it's always the thing.
Yeah, we can analyze what that means.
Yes, we can. Let's not, but we could.
Okay.
You've also written about dinner parties and your dinner parties, which sound so fun and so delicious. They makes me want to invite myself.
Oh, well, you're invited. Come on by.
Well, I will show up.
Okay.
So give us your top tip for a successful dinner party.
Number one, be relaxed. Like, if you're gonna make something you know how to make something that you can make ahead, because I think the most stressful thing is when you are making something you've never made before, you have 6 people coming over, the oven has smoke billowing out of it, and you have stuff you haven't even started yet. I mean, I think going to someone's house and having them stressed out is not fun. So I try to get everything done before people get there. Sometimes I'll even make something a day ahead, like I'll make a chili or I'll make a stew, and it gets better when it sits in the fridge. And then all you have to do is heat it up, and you put out some cheese and crackers, and you can buy dessert, you can make dessert. But it's more about the vibe and just the atmosphere of again, like relaxation and kind of calm that makes people feel at ease, and then you can have a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Although I would guess that your cheese and crackers and my cheese and crackers are going to look very different. In one of them, you actually wrote about how you served your friends this rhubarb crumble, and I was like, oh my gosh, that sounded so good. I grew up in Michigan, and we love our rhubarb there.
I love rhubarb. It's like nature's candy.
I know, it's kind of an underrated, but I really love it too.
Yeah, it's great. And a crumble is not that hard. It's just like oats and sugar and butter.
Yeah, so you say, Adam. So you also have this really lively Instagram where you show all this kind of gorgeous looking food, but you did this funny thing that I saw. You posted a video where you broke into your parents' refrigerator, revealing the content.
So this is what's in my parents' refrigerator. It's a bleak kind of landscape. Everything's in plastic. There's no onions, there's no garlic.
Tell us what your reaction was to that.
Well, it's funny because I'm a food writer. I wrote this book, Food Person. Like, I'm so about food, and it's just so funny to me that when you open my fridge at home is stuffed to the gills. Like, things are spilling out of it. I have Swiss chard falling out of it. I have all kinds of olive oil, not olive oil in the fridge, but just all kinds of things.
Yes.
My parents, you open their fridge, and it's like an absolute empty refrigerator with like maybe 1 tub of cottage cheese, like 1 thing of diet dressing, and like a Gatorade. And to me, it says a lot. I mean, the book, and when I was writing these characters, I kind of wanted to reveal them through partially how they grew up and the food environment they grew up in. And if someone was writing a book about me, I think he would start with, well, his parents don't have food in the house.
Yeah.
And therefore, maybe that's why he became a food writer.
So you don't come from this long line of gourmets. Were you professionally trained? I mean, where did this come from?
I mean, it's almost like a reaction formation, like the way that some kids become like, get into punk or they get piercings or tattoos. Like, my rebellion was to cook. And like when I was a kid, all I wanted was an easy bake oven, and my mom wouldn't buy it for me because she said boys don't use an easy bake oven. So I think it was this real rebellion of cooking. But the funny thing is my parents love restaurants. Like, they like to go out to meals. So it's not that they hate food, they just hate cooking at home. And they don't understand why anyone would do it. They think it's a huge waste of time. Why would you dirty all those dishes? Why would you waste all that energy? And to me, it's like the best thing in the world is to cook at home.
So I want to talk a little bit about the rest of your life. I know that you live in Brooklyn with your husband, Craig. So tell us something that you love to do when you are not in the kitchen.
Well, I play the piano, so I like to play the piano. I like theater a lot. I went to graduate school for playwriting, so that's a big one. We have a dog that we like to walk all around.
Winston. I read about Winston.
Yes, he's a great dog. So.
And I hear that Winston has a real fondness for aged Parmesan.
Yes, he's a very gourmet dog. He won't eat the cheap stuff. He only eats the good stuff.
That's very funny because we have this little dog, Bailey, and she is a total cheese hound herself.
Yeah.
But she's very happy with the pre-sliced grocery store
cheddar. I'm sort of kidding. I mean, Winston will literally eat anything on the sidewalk, which makes living in Brooklyn kind of hard.
So I want to go back to talking about your writing. Another character in the book that was so interesting to me is the main character, Isabella's mother, because she's constantly making these really weird concoctions from expired food,
Yeah.
and also with canned soup.
Yeah.
It felt a little bit like you might be writing sort of like your nightmare scenario.
Well, I wanted to come up with a story where we understood Isabella's character and why she's so meek. Because when we meet her, she's sort of timid. She's afraid to stand up for herself. She doesn't want to be on camera. She doesn't want to make friends. And so I wanted to kind of paint a portrait of her home life. And her mother has sort of made Isabella feel really guilty about being gluttonous and being interested in gourmet food.
Right.
And so she's really interested in cooking for charity, feeding others with leftover scraps. And so when we first meet her, she likes to mix Campbell's soups together.
Yeah.
So she does surf and turf with a can of clam chowder and a can of chili and mixes that together. So it's really repulsive food that Isabella grew up with. And so it's something that she had to overcome. Yeah.
And do you, when you write, like, tell me about the process. Do you tend to do the same sort of thing over and over again, or do you have habits, or I don't know, do you snack when you write?
Well, I reward myself with like an iced coffee in the afternoon, and I'll maybe like if I have make it like a cake or like a zucchini bread or something, I'll have a little piece of that.
Yeah.
But in terms of my process, it's I read the Stephen King book on writing years ago, and he says to write 1,000 words a day. That's what he does, and it's like if that's what Stephen King does, it should work for all of us, and it does. It's like you make yourself write 1,000 words a day. And no matter what you write, it's like after a couple months, you'll have a book. And then you can look at it and say, okay, this is good, this is bad, this works, this doesn't work. I need to. And most of the stuff I've written so far, I've written, and another writing book is Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott. And she talks about writing the crappy first draft and giving yourself permission to write a crappy first draft. She uses another word from crappy. And so, that combination of like writing 1,000 words a day, writing a crappy first draft, and then reading it back, and then sort of, instead of throwing it away, just sort of looking at it and be, okay, what's good here? What's not good here? How can I make this better? And then doing it again, and then writing the next draft and making it better. Just eventually you can come up with a book.
And do you have to write in a specific place every day, or do you sort of move around with it?
Well, I used to go to coffee shops and like sort of like have a ritual of going there and like not leaving until I wrote my 1,000 words. But coffee is so expensive now that I just stay at home with the dog. I sit on the couch and he sits next to me, and then I write till I'm done, and then we go for a walk. And
I understand you are working on another book, right?
Yes, and this one is semi-autobiographical.
Also fiction, right?
Yeah, it's fiction. It's about a law student. I don't know where I came up with that idea, who graduates law school, and instead of studying for the bar, she decides she wants to become a chef. So it's about her pursuit of trying to get that job before it's too late.
And how far are you in that process?
I am in the second draft.
So, Adam, can we do just a quick flash round of food questions?
Absolutely.
How do you feel about that?
I feel excited.
Okay, good. So if you could eat only one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I mean, I love pasta. I'd probably blow up to weigh 500 pounds if I only ate pasta, but if it's just about pleasure, I'd say pasta.
Your most hated food?
Beef jerky.
Interesting.
I just think it's so disgusting. I just like hard, chewy beef. It's just, ugh. I don't get it.
Okay, go to junk food, like the really guilty pleasure, the one you know you should not eat.
I really like, we just went to the movies and I got Bunch of Crunch. Do you ever get that? That's like
yes, I've had Bunch of Crunch.
Yeah,
yes.
I kind of like that at the movies. And then Sour Patch Kids.
Oh, you are talking my language.
Yeah, that's really good. And then like bad cereals, like ones that are bad for you, like Sugar Pops and Kix and like all that. Like, I grew up like wanting all that stuff. So
yeah, I have such a thing for those little gummy fish.
Oh yeah, those
I could
are
eat
good.
like 5 pounds, but fortunately our producer Adam, another Adam, keeps me well stocked in those.
Oh, those are good for you because it's fish are very healthy. Yeah. Omega-3s, yeah.
So Adam, just a last question for you. It's clear that food and cooking really sort of fuels your professional life and your writing. But how would you describe how you feel about that on a personal level, more broadly, what that's given to you?
Well, food to me is nurture. It's a way to nurture yourself. And during times in my life where I've had struggles or things have been bad, it's like I find it very comforting to be able to feed myself and to comfort myself in the kitchen. I find it very soothing and therapeutic. But then on another level, it's an opportunity to nurture other people. And I think it builds such great relationships. I feel like so many of my closest friends, we've bonded over meals that we've cooked for one another. So I think food can just be such a great way to have a richer, more meaningful life.
Great. All right, Adam, thank you so much for all your time today.
Thank you. This flew by.
It was really fun chatting with you.
You too. Thanks.
Now we are going to head down to our podcast studio to see what Isabel Ortiz has for us in Breaking Books.
Hi everyone, I'm Isabel Ortiz and welcome to Breaking Books. Today I have the pleasure of sitting down with an incredible artist, poet, and advocate who was named the 8th U.S. National Youth Poet Laureate. With all that being said, I am so excited to welcome Stephanie Pacheco. Hi Stephanie, thank you so much for being here today.
Hi Isabel, I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you sitting in the studio today. Your poetry really focuses on themes of community and identity and justice. So I'm excited to talk to you about your journey as a poet today. But I know for me, poetry was always something that I kind of tapped into in school, tapped out of. It was like a haiku here, haiku there, and they were never particularly very good. But I wanted to know for you, when did you really start your poetry journey, and when did you realize it was something that you were really good at?
It wasn't until I was in high school where I started, I started going down a whole bunch of YouTube rabbit holes of like all the poetry slam archives you can imagine, and seeing other people take poems and perform them and bring them to life on a stage and like watch people cheer for them and watch as people talked about blackness and womanhood and queerness and everything under the sun. And I was like, that's so cool. I didn't know that you could do that with words. And I'll never forget the first time that I performed a poem. I was like 15 at the time. And I read out loud this poem that was about being from the Bronx and what it meant to like grow up in my neighborhood and to be living a Black Latinx experience. And then like people gave my little 15-year-old self a standing ovation, and I was like, oh, this is so crazy. From there, I realized that my poetry couldn't just heal me. It couldn't just like help me understand the world around me and how I was existing in it, but it could like galvanize a room.
And when you are putting that pen to paper, how does that process go when you have to see the words that you've written down and then go to the stage to perform it? Is there an editing process, or is it just straight paper to the stage?
Yeah. Typically, after I write something and I just let thoughts come and flow through me, I again personally really love editing with someone else that I trust, that I love. And I go in and first like take out all these fluffy filler words. This is one of the ways where I think poetry can break rules of language, because like in an essay or even like in conversation, you know, we use the and because and what happened was and all these like in all these different ways to like enter into a story. But in poetry, I make it a point to take out all those filler words, take out all the things that aren't really getting to the subject of what I'm writing, take all those out and see what's left. And it's so funny because in poetry, you'd be surprised how many words you can take out of a typical sentence before it stops making sense.
And you attended a CUNY, you attended BMCC, and you had the opportunity to write your poem, Dear CUNY.
Dear CUNY, I don't know of any other school that runs its city like you, that paints its town with its face like you. Everywhere I turn, every building is a student. Every train car is a classroom. Every leader I need already lives in me. Every philosopher I know wears a tote bag and hangs out at my library. My favorite scriptures are those I have to reserve using my school library's website. But at least the only loan I've acquired is at my school library. The only debt I owe is to them, to you all, the magnificent holders of knowledge, you all, who remind me to dream just like our city lights, to be that kind of impossible. This poem is for everything that keeps a boat floating, for the makers and shakers, for the thinkers, the dreamers, for those of us who dare.
You really bring sitting in a classroom to life, talking about how professors really helped your journey and encouraged your dreams. What made you decide to focus on that experience of professors really nurturing your dream?
Yeah. BMCC professors have been amazing to me in my time. School hasn't always been the easiest thing for me, quite as it's kept. There are moments where school felt really challenging because I had this burning passion, and then here I was being like, I'm a poet and I want to keep being a poet. And I don't want to be anything else. I'm going to be a writer and a performer, and I'm an artist. And it was specifically the BMCC English department that was like, period. And you are. And you are a poet, and we're going to support you and uplift you in being a poet.
You were the New York City Youth Poet Laureate, and you were named the U.S. National Youth Poet Laureate. What do those titles mean to you, and how do you hope to use those titles moving forward in your work?
To have those titles and to now, be able to say that I've gotten the 8th National Youth Poet Laureate title, it is so special to me, and not because it's a really fancy, prestigious accolade, but because of what I know it means to people from the communities that I'm from. But also it's important for me to be very clear that I am not an exception. I am not a diamond in the rough. Finding me is not like finding a needle in a haystack. I'm no exception to a rule. The talent or the gifts or, the success that people see in me is actually, it's a pattern, actually. It's the standard for city kids, for CUNY kids, for kids growing up in a low income background. We are all gifted.
It's clear as day your passion for poetry, your passion for uplifting your community, but you have now gone on to branch out into different areas of writing with your play, The Other Side. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
On the Other Side explores the stories, plural, of two Black girls navigating the New York City public high school system and just trying to survive and try to make it out on the other side. And the process of making that play and of, putting it up on stage was rigorous. Because it's a big jump to go from writing like a 3-page poem, with a couple of stanzas, maybe like, 500, 600 words, to writing a 65-page or however many it was, full-length play. That's a jump. So it was rigorous.
Yeah,
it was rigorous, but having my background in poetry gave me a really solid foundation to bring the story to life, and it was emotional. And yeah, this one was special because it was to uplift the Solutions Not Suspensions bill that is being pushed forth by Alliance for Quality Education and the Children's Agenda. So it was very tangibly like art made to advocate, art made to change a societal condition tangibly. And I think we did just that. So yeah, shout out to On the Other Side, and I'm so excited for more.
Okay, well, you speak of more. You are already so accomplished at so young.
Thank you.
Do you see yourself working on anything new soon? Are you working on anything now?
I'd love to have a book and love to be able to give people that I love and people that, resonate with my work, or people that are just getting to know me as a poet, as a person, give them, a place where my poems live. I think that'd be really special.
If your next thing happens to be a book, I am so happy to add that to my collection.
Absolutely.
If it's something on stage, I would gladly be in the audience.
Absolutely.
I'm sure as a lot of people watching will, and a lot of people will definitely from your community as well, I'm sure. Because as they uplift you, you uplift them. So I am super excited to see what you come out with next. I just say thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure getting to sit down and speak with you.
Thank you, Isabel.
Linda Stasi is back, and as always, she has plenty to say about what she's reading. Here's Uncensored.
Perfection by Italian author Vincenzo Lotronico, translated and published this year in the United States, is considered one of the best books of 2025. Shortlisted for the International Booker Prize, it's the story of millennials Anna and Tom. They're Italian expats who moved to Berlin in its heyday after the fall of the wall, seeking the perfect lifestyle. As creative people, they find what they're searching for: freedom to create, expat friends, time to do what they want without the restrictions of a 9-to-5 life. To show how Anna and Tom are obsessed with whatever is considered the newest, hippest have-to-haves, the first several pages are filled with descriptions of their apartment and plants. It kind of reads like an indoor gardener's guide. As they age and become digital creators, their old friends who mostly aren't Berliners move away, have kids, no longer keep in close touch. While Anna and Tom have the newest appliances and a great kitchen, they become bored with their shallow existence. Their dreams of creative freedom turn into demands from corporate clients. I personally don't see what the International Booker Prize judges saw. I mean, the theme of having it all while having it none has been done 400 million times before. The idea that millennials are so annoying is so overplayed that I'm ready to love them all. Reading a short book about shallow people, not really my idea of a great good time. Plus, the satire hit me so hard I thought I might have a concussion. Look, the writing is good, very good in fact, but the action, not so much. Speaking of action, I recently read a book after attending a reading at a really cool downtown independent bookstore called P&T Knitwear. Since I'm an author and a critic, I know many of the authors whose books I choose or choose not to review. It's just part of an author/critic's life. It's a slippery slope, though, because honesty is imperative, whether I like the book or I hate it. Close Call by Elise Hart Kipnis, who I met at that reading, I'm happy to report, falls into the impossible-to-guess whodunit category. It's the latest in her series featuring sports reporter and former Olympian Kate Green. This one's about two female tennis phenoms, one quite young and one aging out as they compete at the U.S. tennis finals at Arthur Ashe Stadium. They are fierce rivals until one of them goes missing just as the match is about to begin. Is she dead? Not yet, but she is in danger of becoming so because she's being held for ransom. Does her competition have anything to do with the kidnapping? Me? I was totally wrong about the kidnapper, and I sure didn't see that twist at the end coming. For Uncensored, I'm Linda Stasi.
That wraps up another chapter for us. Thanks so much for watching. A quick reminder to download our CUNY TV app so you can watch on the go and check out our social media. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Carol Anne Riddell. See you next time on Book It.